Hello everyone, welcome to Lukmaan IAS. Today we are going to have the Hindu newspaper analysis dated 21st of July 2022. So let us quickly have a discussion on the topics that we are going to take for the day. So these are important articles for the day. So these articles we are going to cover one by one. The first article says saving mothers. Okay. So in this article we will try to understand like what are the steps that India can take to save the mothers, how we can reduce the maternal mortality rate. Okay, this topic is important under social justice and health section of the UPSC mains exam. Apart from this, we are going to look into another topic. It says cheetahs likely to arrive in Kuno before August 15. Okay, so we do have a tie-up with another country, okay, like one African country, and we are going to bring cheetah from that country and we are going to introduce them in India, okay, in Kuno National Park. Okay, Kuno National Park is located in Madhya Pradesh, so we are going to talk about it. Okay, and this topic is important under environment and ecology perspective. Apart from this, we are going to look into another topic. It says Jammu and Kashmiri students get to don the IAS hat for a day. Okay, so this topic is very interesting. We are going to understand how an IAS officer has allowed school going children to act as IAS officer for a day. Okay, and we are going to understand about like what can be the benefits, like how it can motivate the younger children to take up similar roles in their career. After this, we are going to look into another topic. It says don't apply ESG blindly on developing countries. Okay, so what do we mean by ESG? ESG stands for environmental, social and governance norms. We are going to understand about environmental, social and governance norms in this article. After this, we are going to look into another topic. It says RBI to initiate CBDC in wholesale retail sectors. Okay, RBI stands for the Reserve Bank of India, and Reserve Bank of India is the central bank for India, and RBI has recently rolled out. Okay, so RBI is going to initiate CBDC. CBDC stands for Central Bank Digital Currency. Okay, we are going to understand about CBDC. We are going to understand like what is CBDC, how it is different from blockchain or cryptocurrency, the privately held currencies. So this topic is important under Indian economy perspective. Apart from this, we are going to look into another topic. It says India-Vietnam ties from strong to stronger. Okay, so in this article we are going to talk about the bilateral relations between India and Vietnam. Okay, so India and Vietnam are South Asian countries and they are maritime neighbors, and we are going to understand like how the relationship has become, has gone from strong to being stronger. Okay, so in today we are going to discuss all of it one by one. Okay, so these are very important for the UPSC civil services exam. So let us understand the first topic. It says saving mothers. Okay, saving mothers. When it comes to pregnancy, right, health of the women is most important. Okay, when women are healthy, their children are going to be healthy. Okay, so now what has happened, like it has been noticed that India has a higher prevalence of maternal mortality rate. Maternal mortality rate gives us an understanding like how many women are dying during pregnancy. Okay, how many women are dying during pregnancy. So like we need to effectively reduce the maternal mortality rate. Okay, if we reduce the maternal mortality rate, what will happen, like women are going to survive the delivery related things. So we are going to understand about like what are the things that India needs to do to make the maternal mortality rate lower. Okay, so here in this article they have discussed about data on maternal mortality rate should lead to restructuring healthcare systems for women. Okay, so what has happened in this article, they have discussed about like what does maternal mortality indicate. It indicates like two things, one positive aspect, other negative aspect. When maternal mortality rate is lower, it showcases the positive aspect of health infrastructure in the country, and also it showcases the overall health status of women in India. And like when we talk about higher prevalence of maternal mortality rate, so what happens, it showcases like the weak weaknesses of the healthcare institutions in India. So here in this article they have mentioned like what is maternal mortality rate. So maternal mortality rate indicates a woman's ability to access healthcare, contraceptive devices, nutrition, and in a sense is a mark of the efficiency of healthcare system in responding to demands made of it. A recent study, okay, recently they have published a study in a peer-reviewed journal. It is PLOS Global Public Health, okay. It casts a shadow over the progress of healthcare targeting women in the country, but also questions the reliability of the country's own periodic estimates of maternal mortality ratio, that is MMR, okay. So what is maternal mortality ratio, okay. So what is maternal mortality ratio? So like its definition is also given in this article. It says maternal mortality ratio or maternal mortality rate is the number of mothers who die from complications in pregnancy for every 1 lakh live births, okay. For example, like women are giving birth to babies, so like out of every 1 lakh live births, right, during the pregnancy complications, okay, during the pregnancy, so how many women are dying? So that is known as maternal mortality ratio, right. So researchers from the International Institute for Population Sciences triangulated data from routine records of maternal deaths under the Health Management Information System with census data and sample registration system to provide MMR for all states and districts of India, okay. So this particular organization, which is International Institute for Population Sciences, they have gathered data from 3 different sources. What were the sources? One of the sources, like the Health Management Information System, second is census data, and third is sample registration system, okay. From these 3 sources they have gathered data and they have showcased like what is the maternal mortality ratio across states in India, across states and across districts in India, okay. So the analysis suggests that 70% of the districts, like which is 448 out of 640 districts, okay. In India we have 640 districts, okay. So out of 640 districts, 448 districts in India have reported maternal mortality ratio above 70 deaths, a target under United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, okay. Then many of the districts in southern India and Maharashtra have MMR of less than 70. At the same time, northeastern and central regions have the least number of districts, like 12 and 6 districts respectively with MMR less than 70, okay. So it is desirable that the maternal mortality ratio must be less than 70, means like less than 70 women. I mean, we are targeting that at least less than at most 70 women, it's not about this thing, like we want like lesser number of women should die during pregnancy, okay. So if we compare the data, if we compare the Indian data with the global data, so we understand that like globally it is recognized that around 70 maternal mortality ratio is around 70 globally. So that's why I mean like we have adopted a figure of 70, okay. So like more than 70 deaths should not happen, and in those regions where we are seeing more than 70 deaths because of pregnancy complications, so like it showcases the lacuna in the healthcare infrastructure in those districts, okay. So this is the thing. Now apart from this, significantly it also demonstrates the presence of huge within state inequalities even among the better performers like Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, okay. So these are some of the better performing states. In these states the maternal mortality ratio is very low, okay. Similar heterogeneity was observed in other states as well. According to SRS stands for Sample Registration System, okay. Only Assam, like it has 215 MMR, which is more than 200, okay. So only Assam has the highest prevalence of maternal mortality ratio. While this district level assessment, the indications are about 130 districts have reported above 200 MMR, okay. So like out of 640 districts in India, more than 130 districts have reported, okay, a maternal mortality ratio of above 200, okay, which is not a good sign. We need to have lower maternal mortality ratio across districts in India, okay, that should be the target. So there is adequate proof that improvement in access to contraceptives, antenatal care, post delivery death care, body mass index and economic status, besides a concerted reduction of higher order births in higher ages, will help reduce maternal mortality ratio. The message during this milestone anniversary year is two-pronged, okay? Improve overall care for women and keep real-time track of such crucial health data, okay? So this is the thing. Now, immediate action is required to meet the SDG goal regarding MMR, okay? So there is a sustainable development goal also that talks about reducing the maternal mortality rate, okay, maternal mortality ratio. So we need to have, you know, more concentrated efforts. We need to make the healthcare systems better. We need to, you know, like create those policies that actually helps women to, be more nutritious during pregnancy year, okay? So this is all, means like in this article, you know, it showcases the grim reality like when it comes to saving mothers. So it is very important that we should strive to save more mothers so that, like, you know, they do not die during pregnancy, okay? So with this, let us move to the next topic. Okay, so it says cheetahs likely to arrive in Kuno before August 15. India and Namibia sign agreement, officials trying to complete the first transfer to the national park in Madhya Pradesh, okay? So here in this article, we are going to understand about the relationship between India and Namibia, okay? So Namibia is an African country, okay? Namibia is an African nation, African country, and so Namibia has very high population of cheetah, okay? And India also used to have, you know, cheetah, but like cheetah has gone extinct in India. So what has happened, like, you know, the government of Maharashtra, they have earlier had an agreement with government of Gujarat for transfer of some lion population, you know, some population of lion from Gir Tiger Reserve or Gir National Park to the Kuno Wildlife Sanctuary or Kuno National Tiger Reserve, okay? But the thing is, like, that particular transfer was, I mean, like, you know, hampered. Later on, the Gujarat government withdraw out of that agreement and they did not transfer any lion population to Kuno, to Madhya Pradesh. So I mean, like, you know, during this time itself, like, you know, government of India had signed some agreement with Namibia. Namibia is a country in Africa, okay, for transfer of some cheetah, some population of cheetah to India, especially in Madhya Pradesh in the Kuno Tiger, Tiger Reserve, Kuno National Park, okay. So like this year, the Namibian government, like, you know, the Deputy Prime Minister of Namibia and the Foreign Minister of Namibia has visited India in Delhi, and, like, you know, they have signed an agreement. So according to that agreement, they are going to transfer, I mean, like, few cheetah to India. So now with this, like, you know, we will have a fresh population of cheetah. But, like, you know, people are of the opinion, even the Supreme Court of India has raised this concern that, like, whether, like, you know, whether in the Kuno National Park, whether in India we have similar climatic situation, whether we have similar ecological, you know, things, I mean, like, you know, that can give adequate prey to the cheetah from Africa, whether those cheetah will be able to survive in India, okay. So, like, you know, experts and ecologists and other environmentalists, they have pointed out that, like, we do have, you know, some conditions, you know, ecological conditions that will allow cheetah to prosper here, to, I mean, like, thrive in the, you know, jungles in India, okay. So, like, we are going to see some transfer of, you know, cheetah population from Africa, okay. Few number of cheetah will be transferred to India, and, like, we are going to introduce them in the Kuno National Park in Madhya Pradesh, okay. Once it is introduced there, then, like, you know, the Kuno National Park, it has, you know, some geographical territory. So it has a prey base also. So according to the experts, so the Kuno National Park, you know, can have around 26 cheetahs, okay, like, that will get adequate prey base and they'll be able to sustain and survive there, okay, but like some other experts also point out that like with let's consider the cheetah is doing breeding and all, so like it can at most I mean like allow a habitation of 36 cheetahs in Kuno National Park. Okay, so like this is a healthy sign, this is a good sign that like we are trying to bring back any species that has gone extinct, okay, from India, okay, that has gone extinct from India. So with this like we are trying to like increase the population base of different species in India. Okay, so cheetahs are like one of the top what we say are on the top part of the ecological pyramid. Okay, when we talk about ecological pyramid, it talks about the trophic level in a food chain. Okay, it talks about trophic level. So trophic level 1, 2, 3. Okay, so at the lower level we have autotrophs, like who produce their food themselves. Then we have heterotrophs. Then like we have super heterotrophs, or they are also known as carnivores. They feed upon the animals. Okay, so autotrophs. Then autotrophs are eaten by herbivores. I mean like herbivores. Then herbivores are eaten up by carnivores, and cheetah is considered one of the top carnivores. So they are at the highest trophic level. So with this, let us talk about another topic. Let us take another topic. This is again a very interesting article. So this article talks about Jammu and Kashmir students get to don the IAS hat for a day. Program aims to motivate students from the worst militancy hit Pulwama area. Okay, so Jammu and Kashmir has various areas in different locations. So some of these areas are highly affected by militancy. Okay, so there like one of the IAS officer in Pulwama district, a district which is very I mean like very highly infested by militancy activities. So the deputy commissioner means an IAS officer at the district level. So that IAS officer has actually allowed the students from schools to participate in the collectorate activity for that for a particular day. And during that day, I mean like 40 students were invited, and out of 40 students, 6 students were allowed to function as district commissioners or deputy commissioners, okay, or IAS officer during a 1 hour session. So why it was done? This was done to give a message to the younger generation that like they can also take up such high position in their life if they aspire high, if they aim high in their life. Okay, so this has given a message to those students that like that they can also aspire to be at the higher post. Okay, that actually helps for the progress of the community. And at the same time students were motivated by the deputy commissioner itself. Okay, so like these students like who have participated, they are going to go back to their school, they are going to talk about their colleagues about like becoming a like deputy commissioner for a day. Okay, so this is going to give a very motivating signal to the students, and these students may soon like in their career like so they were 12th standard students, so like after few years one of them or some of them may become IAS officers or may take up civil services in their life. Okay, so this was done by the deputy commissioner just to motivate the students. Like it can be taken in a negative way also, but the thing is like we should look into the positive aspect of this particular thing, because like that area is militant infested. So like in this time when students are motivated, they are going to aspire for a greater life, they are going to aspire for a life that's going to give them dignity, that's going to allow them to help their people in their state to aspire for a better career in their life. So with this let us talk about another topic. Okay, so in this article we are going to understand about ECG norms. Okay, so this article says don't apply ECG blindly on developing countries, even Europe needs coal power. It was said by Chief Economic Advisor. Okay, so who is the Chief Economic Advisor of India now? Mr. V. Anant Nageshwaran. Okay, He is the Chief Economic Advisor of India. Okay, Mr. V. Anant Nageshwaran is the Chief Economic Advisor. So what has happened? Mr. V. Anant Nageshwaram, like he has participated in a kind of meeting, and in that meeting he has talked about the energy security, the importance of energy security. So like there are two viewpoints that are going on around energy security. On one part, people are talking about, globally people are talking about shunning or like stopping usage of fossil fuel. Okay, people are talking about that we need to reduce the usage of fossil fuel. So this particular advice or this particular opinion is eco-friendly. Why? Because like it is going to allow the environment to become lesser, to reduce the global warming effect. So reducing the fossil fuels will reduce the global warming, and it is an environment friendly suggestion. Apart from this, on the other side, we have the energy security needs, right? If we totally stop using the fossil fuels, so how are we going to meet the energy needs of our population? Okay, that's also a very crucial thing to look into. So V. Anant Nageshwaran, the Chief Economic Advisor, has highlighted the importance that like we need to focus more on energy security. Why we need to focus more on energy security? So that like our energy demands can be met, and at the same time we can balance the need of the environment as well. Okay, so we need to balance both the views. On one side we need to maintain the energy security. Okay, we need to prioritize the energy security, and we also need to think about, right, we also need to think about reducing the usage of fossil fuels. Okay, so in India we do have a ministry. This is known as Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. So this particular ministry is looking forward to, to developing or utilizing or doing research and development activities in alternative sources of energy. So we do have solar energy, we do have multiple types of renewable energy. We have wind energy, solar energy, we have geothermal energy, etc. So like there are different forms of energy, but like we still need to do a higher level of research and development so that the alternative forms of energy can be utilized. They can become prominent in the near future. So V. Anant Nageshwaram, the Chief Economic Advisor, has highlighted the importance of maintaining the energy security in India. Okay, so like many countries, many European countries, they are looking forward for having environment, social and governance norms. So under these norms, they want to reduce the usage of fossil fuels. So when they want to reduce the usage of fossil fuels, so environmental things is giving a boost, and at the same time, this socially also people will be informed about the benefits of using alternative sources of energy, benefits of using renewable sources of energy, and like we need to adopt these renewable sources of energy and these practices in the governance norms itself. But like it is not only ESG norms, but like it also has some tax implications associated with it. Tax implications means if these countries, if European countries is importing something from outside, so they will also look into like how much fossil fuels or how much carbon must have been emitted in for example making of these things. So they are going to apply tax proportionately. So that's why V. Anant Nageshwaram, he said that ESG norm should not be applied indiscriminately. Okay, it should not be applied indiscriminately among emerging nations, among developing countries, because like developing countries also have a need of meeting the energy security for their population. Okay, so this is the thing. Now the like he has made multiple points, so I will read one of the statement that was made by the Chief Economic Advisor. So he said, we should not just look at the proportion of coal-fired power plants, but also the trend. The share of power generated by non-fossil fuel power plants is increasing. Okay, so the share of power generated by non-fossil fuel-based power plants is increasing in India. So this is the thing. So this was so he has participated in a fintech festival. Okay, fintech festival, and there he has made these statements. Okay, so he has discussed about energy security. Like he also talked about that like there are many countries in Europe as well, like they are also dependent on fossil fuels. They are also dependent on coal based power. Okay, in India also, like India is majorly dependent on coal based power. Okay, power which is generated using coal. So he has said that Austria, Denmark, Germany have either restarted their coal-fired power plants or delayed their shutting down. Okay, and at the same time we need to focus on energy security. Okay, so energy security becomes more important for every nation rather than the so-called green transition. So here he has also highlighted that like we need time to, I mean like to move from this particular stage of development where we are using fossil fuel to a more like to a more eco-friendly nation. Okay, to a more eco-friendly nation. So in this perspective, he has said that many of the standards that satisfy investors such as sustainability and ESG norms cannot be applied indiscriminately in developing countries that need more time and distinct pathways compared with the developed world. And in the process of ensuring that only genuine green projects are funded, the risk is that we exclude a lot of countries from receiving the kind of investment they need, which will further compound the problem. Okay, so we always have to keep one eye on our development priorities as well as preparing for the long-term climate change mitigation efforts. This is a balancing act and there is no ready template to manage this. We have to improvise as we go along by keeping the goal in mind. So the chief economic advisor has highlighted the importance of meeting the energy need and also balancing the need of the environment. So for this purpose, like every nation has to go through a different or distinctive way. Okay, so like we do not have a template ready that every nation can follow for energy transition. So we need time for this, and like we need to see like how we can mitigate the impact on the climate on the long term. Okay, so he has highlighted these things. So this particular article is important because like it highlights it highlights two things. One is meeting the energy security. Second is like long term vision for climate mitigation impacts, so that like we can also adhere to the ESG norms. ESG stands for environmental, social and governance norms. Okay, so you can read about these things in your free time. After this we have another article. This article says RBI to initiate CBDC in wholesale retail sectors. Okay, RBI to initiate CBDC in wholesale retail sectors. So implementation in phases says ED. Okay, so let's talk about this. It says the Reserve Bank of India is in the process of implementing the central bank digital currency in a phased manner for wholesale and retail segments. Okay, now let us understand what is CBDC. CBDC means central bank digital currency. This central bank digital currency will have a framework that will be similar to blockchain, cryptocurrency, etc. Okay, it will be similar to that, but like this particular currency will be administered or monitored by the Reserve Bank of India. Okay, that's why it is known as central bank digital currency. Okay, this central bank digital currency is going to replicate the blockchain kind of technology in such a manner that it can be looked after by the central bank. Okay, so this central bank digital currency is going to be very different. Okay, it's going to be very different from the existing cryptocurrencies or Bitcoin, etc. because those cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, they are decentralized currencies. These currencies are not regulated by any central authority, so they are peer-to-peer network. So this particular currency, central bank digital currency, is going to be monitored, is going to be taken care of by the central bank. Okay, and the Reserve Bank of India, central bank means Reserve Bank of India in India. Okay, so Reserve Bank of India is going to release central bank digital currency in a phased manner for the wholesale and the retail sector. Okay, and this introduction of CBDC was announced in the Union Budget 2022-23. Okay, so during the Union Budget speech, the Finance Minister of India, Miss Nirmala Sitharaman, she has announced about rolling out of central bank digital currency. So in that perspective, the Reserve Bank of India is going to release the central bank digital currency in a phased manner. So this was announced by the finance minister, and the necessary amendments to the relevant section of the RBI Act 1934 have been made with the passage of the Finance Bill 2022. Okay, so an amendment has also been made in the Reserve Bank in the RBI Act 1934. So this actually allows the central bank, this allows the Reserve Bank of India to implement the central bank digital currency, and the passage of the bill has enabled the RBI to conduct a pilot and subsequent issuance of Cbdc. Okay, so this is the thing. This is now what we say, this is now in news, but very soon, very soon me, you and all of us may be using the central bank digital currency. So we need to wait and watch how soon it is going to be released and how we are going to use the central bank digital currency. Okay, so with this, let us take another article. So in this article, we are going to talk about India-Vietnam ties from strong to stronger. As New Delhi pursues its Act East policy, Hanoi has become valuable partner in the Indo-Pacific region. Okay, now let us understand about Vietnam. So Vietnam is a South Asian country, and it is also a maritime neighbor of India. Okay, this is a very close neighbor of India. So India is also a maritime country. Why? Because majority of the India India has coastline with Indian Ocean. Okay, it has coastline. So the thing is India has maritime boundary, and India is looking forward to implement the Act East policy. So it is already in place. Now we want to make it stronger. So in that perspective, we have fostered ties with Vietnam. Okay, we have fostered ties with Vietnam. So India and Vietnam are very neighboring country. These two countries are actually celebrating 50th anniversary of their diplomatic relations. Okay, so we have established diplomatic relations with Vietnam, and it's been 50 years now. So this is the right time to bolster about the friendship that India has with Vietnam. Okay, so the India has with Vietnam. So in this meeting, both the countries have talked about the things, we have talked about the things in which we have made ourselves stronger, and we have a shared vision. That shared vision is about making the Indo-Pacific region to be free from any aggression from any country, and at the same time we also we also talk about what we talk about. We talk about freedom of navigation in the Indo-Pacific region. And one important key point is that Vietnam has its coastline in South China Sea. So for both Vietnam and India, China is a concern. Why China is a concern? Because China has a tendency of being aggressive in the South China Sea, and they want to showcase their they want to showcase their hegemony in that particular region. So here both these countries, they have a growing convergence of their strategic and economic interest, and also their common vision for peace, prosperity and their people. Okay, a strong commitment of political leadership along with necessary institutional frameworks and cooperation between two countries is likely to be more robust in the future. Okay, so India is essentially a maritime nation, and the ocean holds the key to India's future. Okay, India is a maritime nation. Why? Because we also have maritime boundary, and India's external trade, okay, over 90% by volume and 70% by value is by sea. Okay, so India's external trade is by sea itself. Then very dependent on the seas for its trade and commerce, India has intensified its effort to engage with maritime neighbors including Vietnam. Okay, so this is the thing, and we have started our relation with Vietnam long back in 1980s. Okay, the strategic dimension of Indo-Vietnamese relation initiated during 1980s began unfolding in the form of structured and institutional arrangements during the 1990s. Okay, so we have started the relationship with Vietnam in 1980s, and now we are seeing the fruit. So India has a policy which is known as Act East policy. Under Act East policy, what we are trying to do, we are trying to bring greater cooperation. Okay, we are going to foster greater cooperation with our neighboring countries. Okay, neighboring East Asian countries. Okay, this is the thing. So like in this article, the author has mentioned multiple points, but like some of the key important points that I am going to talk about is going to help you understand the thing. What are the driving forces? Okay, what are the driving forces for relation between India and Vietnam? Okay, so there are 4 key motivations behind India's growing maritime engagement with Vietnam. The first is India's aspiration. Okay, the first is India's aspiration to counter the assertive China by strengthening Vietnam's military power. Okay, India wants to strengthen military power of Vietnam. Why? Because like China is very assertive in the South China Sea. So that's why this is one important driving factor for our greater cooperation with Vietnam. Second thing is with India's increasing trade with East and Southeast Asia, India has began to recognize the importance of its sea lines of communication beyond its geographical proximity. The South China Sea occupies a significant geostrategic and geo-economic position, resulting in India's renewed interest in the South China Sea. Okay, so these are the 2 things. First thing is like making Vietnam stronger militarily. Second thing is like we want a peaceful freedom of navigation in the extended region, like from India in the towards the South China Sea and towards the, so that like we can have greater economic cooperation with East Asian countries, okay, and Southeast Asian countries. Third thing is like India desires to intensify its presence to track potential developments in the maritime domain that could affect its national interest. Okay. And apart from this, if we talk about the fourth thing, the Indian Navy underlines the importance of a forward maritime presence and naval partnership that would be critical to deter potential adversaries. Okay, India's maritime strategic interest in the region as well as, so this is the thing. Okay, so these are the 4 key motivators or 4 key dimensions that India is looking forward, so that like we can have greater cooperation. Apart from this, like if we talk about Southeast Asian nation, we have multiple things, we have multiple relations, okay, in terms of these things. So I'm going to talk about these things. So India sees an open and stable maritime commons being essential to international trade and prosperity. Okay, so we have formal declaration of partnership, which is known as Comprehensive Strategic Partnership in 2016. Okay, apart from this, we have signed Joint Vision for Defense Cooperation, and also we have signed a Memorandum of Understanding on Mutual Logistic Support in June 2022. Okay, so these are the things. India has also extended defense line of credit, means like we have given loan to Vietnam for for strengthening their defense thing. Okay, so this is the thing. And we also have conducted comprehensive underwater combat operation with Vietnam. Okay, so these are the things. Apart from this, we are also going to look into some of the frameworks that are already in place for Southeast Asian countries, for East Asian countries. What are the frameworks that are in place now? Okay, one of the framework is Indian Ocean Rim Association. Apart from this, we have Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation, which is also known as BIMSTEC. Then we have the Mekong Ganga Cooperation. Then we have ADMM Plus, okay, Asian Defense Ministers Meeting Plus, okay, then Asian Defense Ministers Meeting Plus, and the Special Association of Southeast Asian Nations, which is ASEAN India Foreign Ministers Meeting. So a lot of things are there. So what we are trying to do, we are trying to make the relationship between India and Vietnam stronger. And how we are trying to make it stronger? By making Vietnam stronger. Okay, by fostering relationship with Southeast Asian nations, with East Asian nations, because we already have a policy which is known as Act East policy. Okay, we earlier used to have Look East policy, then now we have Act East policy. Under this, like we are trying to make greater cooperation with eastern countries, okay, with countries that are located east of India. Okay, this is the thing. So that's all for discussion today. Thank you so much everyone for attending the session. I hope you have a good day ahead. Thank you. Welcome to Lukmaan IAS. Study General Studies with Lukmaan IAS for building comprehensive knowledge. GS paper 2 and 4 will be taken by S. Ansari and other papers will be covered by renowned faculties. Live classes are as effective as offline classes. The classes are highly interactive in nature. Your doubts and queries will be addressed and there will be dictation of notes. In the last 10 years, Lukmaan IAS has set up a niche in the field of UPSC guidance.